Wake that ass up.
Early in the morning.
The Breakfast Club.
We are the Breakfast Club. Let's get some front page news. Now, some quick sports. Tampa Bay Buccaneers first waived Shiloh Sanders. They're saying after he got into a fight on the field.
Is that why they waived him? They waived him because of that fight?
That's what they were saying. That's the reason why he was waived. But we honestly
the team
don't know.
said that? I saw people on social media.
Social media said that and speculated it. But he was.
Well, you know them niggas don't know nothing.
He was waived after swinging on another player in the game the other night. So he was waived. So
I mean, that would look like regular football to me. The way that it was,
Not the punch at the end, though, right?
Yeah, even the punch. I've seen football players throw punches at each other. I mean, first of all, I think that's stupid. To me, it's swinging at a person. Let me tell you, it's the same thing as lesbians with the scrap on.
What you mean?
When a lesbian got the scrap on,
right.
and then, the other lesbians sucking on it or something, and then the person wearing the scrap is moaning.
Right.
It's the same thing when you throw a punch at somebody. How y'all fist fighting with helmets on?
That's stupid.
I know.
No, what you just said about the games. Like, don't do that.
Yeah, it's all stupid. I agree, Jess. Thank you, Justice K. I agree.
Don't.
It's all stupid. I agree,
my
Jess.
goodness.
Oh, my God.
What's up, Morgan?
Hey, how y'all feeling on a Monday?
Good.
All right, let's get into it. So President Trump is threatening to send troops to Baltimore now as part of his national crackdown on crime. In a post on Truth Social, Trump said that Maryland Governor Wes Moore asked him in a rather nasty and provocative tone to walk the streets of Maryland with him, and called Governor Moore's record on crime a very bad one, and said he'll send troops to the city if he thinks he needs help. Now, Moore responded during a appearance on CBS's Face the Nation, saying while the president is spending his time from the Oval Office making jabs at attacks at us, there are people on the ground already doing the work to actually bring crime down. Let's take a listen to Maryland Governor Wes Moore.
It is not sustainable. You cannot continue this type of pace of operations, particularly when it's costing over $1 million a day in order to do this. The second, it's not scalable. You're not going to be able to do this in every single major American city, particularly when many of the cities that have the highest crime rates are the places that have actually deployed their National Guards to Washington, D.C. So who's going to go do the work in their cities? The third, it's unconstitutional. It's a direct violation of the 10th Amendment. And if for a party that talks about state rights, it's amazing how they're having such a big government approach in the way they're conducting public safety. The fourth reason is because it's deeply disrespectful to the members of the National Guard. As someone who actually deployed overseas and served my country in combat, to ask these men and women to do a job that they're not trained for is just deeply disrespectful.
Yeah, so elsewhere, the Washington Post also reported Saturday that the Pentagon has been planning a military deployment to Chicago for weeks, and that National Guard members could arrive as soon as next month. Now, Illinois Governor J.B. Pritzker responded with a statement saying that Trump is attempting to manufacture a crisis and politicize Americans who serve in uniform to distract from the pain he is causing working families. And
the Epstein files. See, that's where they messing up at, because none of these people are leading with all of this as a distraction from the Epstein files. Even when Governor Wes Moore was on yesterday, he didn't bring that up. J.B. Pritzker's not bringing it up no more. Like, don't stop talking about what caused him to be rattled.
Mm-hmm. Well, National Guard troops in Washington, D.C. let's take it up a notch, because National Guard troops in Washington, D.C. are now authorized to carry firearms. NBC News reports the Guard members will carry service-issued M17 pistols, while there will be a small number armed with M4 rifles. Now, on Friday, Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth authorized 2,000 troops in D.C. to begin carrying weapons, although Guard members will continue to focus on their work on protecting federal assets and providing a so-called safe environment. So,
what I was thinking about? What matters more, data or how people feel? And what I mean by that is the data showed crime was going.
How people feel?
Yeah. The data showed how crime was going down in D.C. Crime has been going down in Baltimore. They had a significant drop in murders, according to the data. But then you have some people who say things are still bad in these places. So what matters more, how people feel or the actual data?
The data, and then also, I guess.
So you think the data?
What people feel, and also the news, right? Because even here in New York City, they said crime and all this is down, but I just heard 5 people got shot over the weekend. Then I heard last weekend that shooting in the club. Then the weekend before that, it was another 3 people. Somebody got shot in Times Square. So it feels like it's bull. The data's BS.
Yeah, I think it's like when you 500 pounds and you lose 200. Yeah, it's cool, but you're still fat.
You still big.
Why do you keep coming up with these metaphors like this, picking on communities?
I'm not picking on anybody.
Yo.
I'm just trying to break it down in ways people understand.
Yeah.
I get it. Well, that is front page news. Thank you, Morgan.
all right, see y'all at 7.
Morning, everybody. everybody? It's DJ NV, Jess Hilarious, Charlamagne the guy. We are the Breakfast Club. Let's get back in some front page news. Just to let you know, people have been asking. Shiloh Sanders has been waived by the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. They're not saying why. People are assuming that's because he threw a punch at another player on the field the other night during the preseason game. But there's no, they haven't said why.
I doubt that's the reason, but who knows?
All right, what's up, Morgan?
Hey, y'all. Hey, okay, in case you missed it, on Friday morning, the FBI raided former Trump National Security Advisor John Bolton's home and office, and it's not exactly clear why. Now, the former National Security Advisor became a strong critic of President Trump after he left the administration back in 2019 and had been previously accused of leaking classified material, but a previous investigation into that didn't go anywhere. Now, Trump spoke on it on Friday afternoon, saying he didn't know about the raid in advance, but also added that he has the right to know in advance. Let's hear more from President Trump.
I don't want to know, but just you have to do what you have to do. I don't want to know about it. It's not necessary. I could know about it. I could be the one starting it. I'm actually the chief law enforcement officer.
So in an interview with NBC's Meet the Press, Vice President J.D. Vance denied the FBI raids were a result of Bolton's previous criticism of the president. And the vice president also said that the investigation of Bolton is in its early stages. Let's take a listen to those comments.
Classified documents are certainly part of it, but I think that there's a broad concern about Ambassador Bolton. They're going to look into it. And like I said, if there's no crime here, we're not going to prosecute it.
Also, I want to say something, Morgan, because we just be, sometimes people just be letting the president speak, but he's not the chief law enforcement officer of the United States. Like, that title belongs to the U.S. Attorney General, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, but you know how Trump talks. But you're right.
It's a lie.
Right, to clarify.
we know how Trump lies. Like, that's a lie.
He's over that, but I guess he feels like because he's over that person, that's why he says what he says, and that's just speculation from my end. But Vance went on to say whether Bolton has been or would be taken into custody remains to be seen. Bolton also served as the U.S. ambassador to the United Nations under President George W. Bush. In other news, Vice President Vance is defending the new congressional map recently approved by Texas Senate, saying it was Democratic gerrymandering that made these redistricting efforts necessary. Let's take a listen to J.D. Vance.
All we're doing, frankly, is trying to make the situation a little bit more fair on a national scale. The Democrats have gerrymandered their states really aggressively. We think there are opportunities to push back against that, and that's really all we're doing.
So the Texas Tribune says the map was adopted early Saturday along party line votes over fierce Democratic opposition. President Trump, of course, had called for a new map to increase the House majority ahead of the midterm elections. Meanwhile, House Democratic leader Hakeem Jeffries, he's hinting at possibility of mobilizing redistricting efforts in more blue states. In an interview with CNN's State of the Union, Jeffries criticized congressional maps in Texas and said Democrats would be ready if more Republican-led states aim to redraw maps in their favor. Let's take a listen to House Democratic leader Hakeem Jeffries.
In Texas, this is a racial, partisan gerrymander ordered by Donald Trump as part of an effort to rig the midterm elections. And we're not going to let it happen. We will continue to respond when necessary across the country. Right now, this has happened in Texas. California has responded. Let's see what comes next.
Of course, Jeffries' comments come again as the Texas Senate approved a new congressional map that will likely give the GOP 5 more seats in the House. Just days before that approval, California Governor Gavin Newsom signed a measure that calls for a special election aiming to redraw state maps in California, and that would most likely give Democrats an additional 5 House seats in California. So the statewide vote will be held in California in November. So we'll continue to keep you guys posted on all of this redistricting, and make sure you pay attention to what happens in your state as it tends to affect, the people. So I'm not going to get too much into that. That's your front page news. I'm Morgan Wood. Y'all can follow me on socials at Morgan Media. That's MorgynMedia. And for more news coverage, follow at Black Information Network. Download the free iHeartRadio app and visit us at BINnews.com. That's for more news coverage, y'all, because y'all be getting mad at me. Why you ain't cover this? Y'all can go ahead and listen to Black Information Network for more news coverage.
Wake that ass up
early in the morning.
The Breakfast Club.